What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled The Wage Gap Plus Chivalry. You know, rest in peace to Craig Mack. My bad, yeah. Ladies like to talk about the wage gap. And, you know, and the effects of the wage gap and the idea that they get paid less than men for the same labor. And I've talked about this a couple of other times. And the question is never really posed to people who feel like this wage gap part is, from male to female. Okay, if we even a dollar for dollar, chivalry, you don't need that, right? Like, because I'm just saying, if the wage gap is as true as you ladies feel, if a man makes $100,000 a year doing a job, and you do the same job and you make $100,000 a year, because everybody using a six-figure floor for some odd reason. But if that's the case, why do you still want men to be chivalrous? Because in that case, that means that man that makes $100,000, if he dates a woman like you who makes $100,000 and he asks her out, he foots the bill, right? So, and you don't want to admit that, oh, well, if we go Dutch, I'm turned off by him. But you want to be paid the same as him, but you don't want to pay the same cost of living as him. Because, see, chivalry is kind of a subsidy for the wage gap. So what about this cost of living? What about it? When if you want to, like I said, if you want to go out, he pays, right? If you want to have a spa day from time to time, it's pretty much part of normal culture that he's probably going to pay for a few of those, right? You got to take that off the table, If something's wrong with something that needs fixing, and he has the skills to fix it, either you need to fix it yourself, or you need to pay somebody else to fix it, or pay him to fix it, right? Because if y'all make the same amount of money, you know what I mean? Both of you guys' times is just as valuable, right? If it comes to proposing to marry you, if he gets you a $5,000 wedding ring, you should buy him a $5,000 wedding band, right? Because, the wage gap is fulfilled. Like, y'all make the same amount of money, right? If you do get married and you decide to get divorced, right? Either you split each other's retirement and pay each other alimony off of the because the wage gap was fulfilled. He's accustomed to a $200,000 lifestyle, just like you're accustomed to a $200,000 lifestyle. So you both have to pay each other, right? But you both have to financially fulfill the roles that were taken care of within the confines of your marriage. So if it dissolves, you got to pay for those things. Maybe he was used to you cooking, now you got to pay him to eat out, right? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the children. If you have if you wind up getting custody of the children, your income should be taken into consideration. It is taken into consideration. Now, don't get it twisted, but if since the wage gap is fulfilled, all this hypothetical. You make 100,000, he makes 100,000. Well, the child's expenses need to be split down the middle between, say that dad would probably garner maybe $1,500 a month. So that means both of you will have to pay, $750 a month to take care of your child because, the wage gap is fulfilled. The things that man has done as favors to your family and friends because he was a man and quote unquote he was supposed to be the breadwinner. All of those things are off the table. Because the wage gap is even. So just because he can do something, he can afford to do something, then you can do that and you can afford to get somebody to do it also. So that you got to take that off the table. Because part of the problem is, personally, I don't have a problem with the with equal pay for equal work. So not a big deal for me. But if you want that equal pay, you have to have equal responsibility in paying in society also. That's why, go back a little bit when it comes to the children thing. That means you have to split that earned income credit for your child or children, right? Because with equal wages, and you should be paying equal into child support, and you should be splitting equal taxes, right? Now, if the wage gap is fulfilled, you don't, that's the end of subsidies and subsidizing women. And what I mean by that is, you don't need all these programs you don't need all these, because by saying that you're a minority and a majority at the same time, you've had the benefits of the old tradition of a man being a breadwinner and the new tradition of you being strong and independent, and you can opportunistically use both of them at the same time to get maximum results out of a man who has to pay you for something, right? Or the expectation that a man should be socially exiled if he doesn't fulfill a traditional role when you're just taking advantage of a traditional role, or him not backing off when he's taking a traditional role and you don't want to comply with that traditional role, so you take on the new strong and independent model. All that has to die. There can't be no more shelters for women and battered women. You know why? Because you got enough money to move out and get your own place, right? And there can't be any more subsidies for housing, food, utilities, because the government has to look at you like, you know what? You make it just as much as a man does, so you don't need these government subsidies on these handouts. Nah. And like I said, I don't have a problem with it. Like, if y'all want equal pay, by all means. And I'm just saying all these other things have to stop along the way with it, That's the culture of catering to your pampering of yourself. If you financially put yourself in debt because you want to get your hair done a certain way every week or 2 weeks, or you want to get your nails done, or you want to drive this type of car, you want to wear this type of purse and these type of shoes and these type of clothes, if you financially bankrupt yourself because we have equal wages, marriage doesn't save you. Because sometimes that's part of marriage, where you take on a person's debt when you marry them. You keep your debt. Even if you decide to get married, you keep your debt. Your debt isn't rolled over in the marriage because you want equal pay. Um, that is the part about the wage gap and chivalry that is hardly ever discussed. And I want some answers. I want some answers. Oh shit, that hurt. All right, we out.